Hello everybody, welcome to ECE 105, Final Project Overview. With each course, I like to take a moment to go over the final project more thoroughly so that you'll be prepared for week 4. First, let's start with the final project components. There's 4 basic components. You'll need to make a schedule for a full-day childcare program, create an activity web, create a concept web, and create a weekly lesson plan. You will be going over many of these items in the coming weeks, so please don't worry if you're unfamiliar with some of these terms currently. First of all, make a schedule for a full-day childcare program. So you're going to choose a classroom. Try to picture yourself in your own classroom. You need to pick an age group, infant, toddlers, 2s, 3s, preschool, etc., and provide the daily schedule for that classroom. So the basic schedule that you would follow each day. Now, you need to know that each childcare center is different. Sometimes the schedule is predetermined for you. Sometimes you're allowed to create your own schedule, and through a lot of trial and error, you may rearrange your schedule as the years go by. But I hope this course will help give you a more solid idea of what all should be included. So you need to include all program components that are in Chapter 8 of your Intro to ECE textbook. It goes through some of the different items that you might have in your program. So be very clear, organized, thorough. You need to include the times and the general activities. Here's an example of making a full day schedule. Now I know this print is kind of small if you're on a mobile device. If you're on a computer at home, you may be able to read this well. Here we have a good schedule for a 2-year-old classroom. This was put together by an ECE student. 7 to 8 o'clock arrival time and breakfast. 8 to 8:15 circle time and songs. 8:15 to 9 o'clock free play, and then she notes teachers moving to the station such as dress up, games, puzzles, etc. Transition time 9 to 9:15. 9:15 to 9:45 group time, teacher plans according to the weekly theme or lesson. 9:45 to 10 o'clock transition. Again, you'll see several transitions as we go through this. This time the transition is cleaning up and washing hands, getting ready for the 10 o'clock to 10:20 a.m. snack. This age group is hungry pretty frequently. 10:20 to 10:50 is story time, and it says can be active or include a lesson. 11 o'clock to 11:40 movement, and she specifies gym, classroom exercises, etc. This might be running around outside as well. 11:40 to 11:50 cleanup and cool down. 11:50 to 12:15 lunch. 12:15 to 12:30 story time, and this time she specifies a quiet or soothing book. 12:30 to 1:30 nap and rest time. 1:30 to 2 o'clock, and she notes or as children wake, play quiet, puzzles, books, play with foam blocks because you'll have different children wake up at different times. 2 o'clock to 2:30 outside play. If weather is not okay, we'll do craft time. 10:30 to 10:45 transition again. This time she notes clean up and wash hands. 10:45 to 11 o'clock p.m. snack. So you'll notice that she's planned 1 lunch for the day and 2 snacks. 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock free play. Teachers moving to stations such as dress up, games, puzzles, and 4 o'clock is the end of her day. So that's when parents will begin picking up. So you get the general idea. I need times, I need specifics. It's going to seem like every minute of the day is scheduled, but it isn't. Trust me, there will always be a little flexibility in your full day childcare program. Second, create an activity web. So For the classroom age that you've chosen in step 1, create an activity web on a topic of your choice other than the seasons, because we'll be using the seasons as one of our classroom assignments. You must include a minimum of 12 activities or descriptions. I want to be sure you understand the difference between an activity and a concept web. So here's an example of an activity web. You'll notice we start with a central theme, and this one it's flowers. And we come up with activities specifically that deal with flowers in different content areas. So literacy and curriculum, a storybook, Planting the Rainbow, or The Tiny Seed by Eric Carle. Social studies, take a nature walk and identify different flowers in the park. Dramatic play, children pretend to be a seed and act out the process of growing into a flower. So you get the idea that these are all specific activities that relate to our central theme. The next one, component 3, is create a concept web. This is different from an activity web. They're drawn similarly. Again, for the classroom age that you've chosen in step 1, create a concept web on a topic of your choice other than the seasons. Again, you must have at least 7 concepts and supporting reason why that concept is developmentally appropriate for your age group. Again, I've got a little example of a concept web. Now, the first one used bubbles and arrows, and obviously it was created with some type of publishing software. This one may or may not have been put together on Word or PowerPoint. It's a little more simplistic. I want you to know that I'm also fine with hand-drawn activity webs and concept webs. You can use plain white paper, use a nice dark marker or pen, and take a picture of your concept or activity web, and you could submit that as your assignment. So I think it's easier because this is often the way we do concept webs and activity webs. It's more of a brainstorming session. So it can be digital, it can be actually drawn, and then take a picture of it. So this concept web is, our central theme is apples. So this time, instead of coming up with specific activities dealing with apples, we're dealing with concepts that we might teach about apples. So you'll see parts of the apple, taste, different foods that have apples in them, the consistency of apples, hard, crunchy, soft, mushy, the different colors of apples, and there's a rainbow out there right now. Orchards, how they operate, the vocabulary, some of the terms we might use with apples: ripe, grow, bushel, orchard, seed, skin. Folk tales about apples, such as Johnny Appleseed and Snow White. And then different types of apples: Macintosh, Gala, Granny Smith, etc. So you get the idea that these are all concepts that we could teach about that deal with apples, and you need to be sure that you include supporting reason why that concept is developmentally appropriate. Our final component of our final project is create a weekly lesson plan. Again, for the same group that you chose in week 1, you're going to write up a 5-day lesson plan, and you'll note in the final project area, I've provided several links to pre-made templates that you could use, or you could shop for one online, or you could use one that you're just familiar with too. There are lots of lesson planning guides out there. So choose your lesson plan, 5 days. Your daycare center may have a standard lesson plan where you currently work. You're welcome to use that too. The one thing I want to be sure that is that this is an original piece of work. Do not copy something off the internet. Do not submit a lesson plan that was pre-made, maybe with an e-text or with some curriculum. It must include some use of your weekly objectives that you may have established in step 1. And also you want to use some of your activities or concepts that you came up with in your activity and concept web. So these all need to tie together as a unit. If you'll click on week 4 and then final project, you'll find all this information there as well. So here's an example of a weekly lesson plan that was put together by one of my students. I'm sorry it's a screenshot, but I really like the way she did this one. She used the pre-made template that I give you a link to in the final project area. This one's on Arctic animals. If you see at the top, the letter focus is A. And she goes into what they do during large group time. And in this case, she's repeated each time what they do. And repetitiveness is actually fairly important in early childhood education to really get the concept to sink in. So gather on the rug, pledge, calendar, days of the week, months, ABC sounds, letters of the week, shapes and colors. So in her plan, they're going to go over that every day. And a lot of centers do this way. Then a story. We've got read a book about Arctic animals and Arctic birds, read a book about plant-eating animals, read a book about polar bears. I like that she's given a topic, but I would like even more to have seen a specific title. So do a little research, find a name of a book that would be appropriate there. You want to have a specific one picked out. Then in small groups, on Monday, are you taller than a penguin? Compare your height to the height of a penguin. That would be fun. Snow or no snow, graphing activity. Marshmallow igloo. Make an igloo out of a paper styrofoam cup and cover with marshmallows. So she's got lots of fun small group activities. And then at the bottom, she has her centers listed as well. In dramatic play, what they'll have. In block and building, what they'll have, language and literacy, math and manipulatives. And she could have tied her theme in even better by including props in her centers, in her individual centers that deal with Arctic animals as well. So you might keep that in mind. For instance, in her sensory play area, she has Play-Doh and water noodles for sensory beads. She might include Arctic animals in that area as well, definitely with the water play. And she might choose Play-Doh colors that are snow colored or light blue or that go along with Arctic animals. So you get the idea. Preschool weekly lesson plan. So you're going to pick your age group in step 1, follow that group and that theme all the way through. Lastly, I wanted to go over a grading rubric real quick. On all my assignments, you'll notice I have a rubric so you know exactly what you need to provide to get those maximum points. Under expectations, we've got provide a full day schedule for a specific classroom age. Be sure and provide that. Include all program components as shown in Chapter 8 of your Intro to ECE textbook. Number 2, create an activity web, including at least 12 activities. Notice that there's a difference between the number of items required in the activity web and in the concept web. In the concept web, you need to include at least 7 concepts. Number 4, create a weekly lesson plan. Says choose a lesson plan template of your choice. It's up to you, and I would gladly help you out if you're having problems with that. Must include some form of objectives or concepts learned listed, and a thorough explanation of activities planned must be included. Lastly, providing organized, clear work free from punctuation, grammar, and spelling errors for a total of 100 points. However, our final project is weighted, so you want to be sure and do well on this. And as always, be sure and contact me if you have any questions. Thank you so much.